YouTube doesn't let us. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Hello, teachers. Hello, teachers, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. How's everyone doing? Great to see all of you here. Excellent. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hello, hello, Tassi. Hello, Clara, Ana Clara. Hello, Leriana. Amanda, Tati. Long time no see. Great, great to see all of you here, teachers. Hello, everyone watching us here both, right, on Instagram and on YouTube. Great to see all of you. Hello, Ale. Hello, Eduarda. I don't know. All right. How's everyone doing? So today, shall we talk about communication? How about that? Shall we talk about talking to people, about being understood, about being clear, about getting our message across? I'm going to tell you the reason why I chose to talk about it. But before, till people join us, just wait like one more minute so everybody can connect. Instagram sends the message and YouTube connects everyone who follows us here to say, look, she's live. She's going online now. Talk to her. Hello, Mafé. Hello, Soshiki. Hi, Duck Even. Hello, Ale. Right. Excellent, guys. Very, very good. So let me tell you why I thought about talking about communication. First, because all the teachers that follow me here, these teachers want to have a schedule full of students. They want to make 10K a month. They want to build a business. They want to boost their careers as English teachers. And they want to attract students. Am I right? This is what teachers want when they start to follow me here, right? Hello, Gui. How are you doing? Hello, Andre. So to communicate well, I need to drink water. Okay, and and even the post I posted today was how to attract people who think like you, how to attract people who are like you, because we want to have students, we want to have clients. That's a given, right? That's why most of you are here, if not all of you are here. But there is one thing that has to be well aligned and well designed, which is our communication with our clients. Clients that we already have and clients that will become our clients. And I know that for many English teachers, many English teachers, that seems like something obvious because we're teachers. We talk about communication. We help students communicate. Isn't that right? Shouldn't we be the masters of communication? Don't you feel that way? I do, at least. You know, I'm a teacher. I should be the queen of communication, because if I am telling my students that I'm going to teach them how to communicate in English, I have to know not just the language, but I have to know how to communicate. Does it make sense? Let me know here, guys, in the comments if it makes sense to you, right? Let me see. I don't know why. I don't know why I cannot see the messages here on YouTube. Okay, I don't know if I can see it here, but I can see it here on Instagram. Yeah, I don't know. All right, YouTube is kind of crazy today. It's not how it works for most teachers, unfortunately. Felipe said, yeah. And that's it, guys. And that's something I see. And I always, my point of view and my perspective here as a teacher mentor and a teacher trainer, that if we're not good at communicating, it's going to be very hard for us to teach our students how to communicate, right? Most teachers are afraid of making mistakes and exposing themselves. That's true, Amanda. There's that, and we talked a lot about it yesterday. Many teachers joined Outstanding and Upgrade to the community and the course. That's awesome. Actually, more than we expected. That's so cool. But I'm talking about communication in the more, let's say, not just the language itself, right? Because when our students are studying with us, they want to learn the language because they need to communicate with people from other countries, right? But How can we help students find their way around? How can we help them figure out and get what they want if we don't know how to communicate well? Let me give you some examples. Many times I get messages, I receive messages from teachers who come from our sponsored posts, from the videos. And every time we start something new, we start a new movement here with BTE or Pro or Upgrade. Some people who still don't know us follow, right? Start to follow the profile, and they send a message saying they're there, asking for more information, and that's fine, right? But the message, many messages come like this: Oi, sou professor. Like, e daí? You know? So it's like, okay, you're taking the time to send a direct message that says nothing, that communicates nothing. Like, all right, and how can I help you? And what the intention you have is not clear when you say, oi, sou professor. Or, oi, como funciona? Like, como funciona o quê? A filtragem da água, né? A criação do I don't know, vegan food, how it's produced. Like, really? So if you, as a teacher, and here is the place that we talk, seriously, straight to the point, face to face, eye to eye with teachers, you have to be clear and you have to use the means of communication in a smart way. We even have a class for the ones who joined Upgrade yesterday, who joined Upgrade in the community. We have classes. We have a master class about writing that talks a lot about being clear when you're writing. That there are some things that we have to keep in our mind so we communicate well and we communicate clearly. The topic for today's video is how to communicate well with your clients, how to communicate well with your students. How do you think you're going to attract people, the right people, the people you want to attract, if you don't communicate clearly enough? If you're not direct, if you're not clear, if you're not easily understood in your communication, how do you think people will come to you and want to have classes with you or know what you do if you don't communicate well? If you don't know how to ask questions, if you don't know how to say what you need, if you don't know how to say, even to say what you don't understand, right? And there are certain things that I want to bring up today that include, there are things that I see teachers not doing or doing in a way that doesn't help them attract students, that doesn't help them keep the students they have, and doesn't help them inspire their clients. Because how do you think a person is going to see a post or a video or something, and I'm talking about attracting people with marketing, right? If you don't communicate well, and if you know me from at least 2 months or 3 months, you probably have heard me saying that there's no way you're going to attract the students you want or all the students you want just by posting English tips. Because if you just talk about that, you're not communicating what you can do to help that person, right? So if you are watching this live and you have paper and pencil with you, be ready to take some notes, because I started thinking of what can be done and what should not be done in order to communicate well. Okay, so if you want to take notes, go ahead and do it. All right. And I think it's a kind of a hygiene, it's more like cleaning up so that communication flows. Whenever you're going to send a message to anyone, whenever you're going to send an audio to anyone, think at least for, 5 minutes before you do it about what you want to communicate. And I'm not saying when you're going to speak in English or in Portuguese or whatever. Just what do you want to say? And what's the best way to say it? Because we're so used to having everything so quickly, to have, okay, Google, question, answer, that we don't think even for like 2 minutes before we send a message, or before we talk to a student, before we ask for help. All right. Let me see. I'm a student. In the moment that I learned a lot was when I had a teacher that knew how to communicate with me. Besides that, classes were, that's it. That's it. That's it. And yeah, and communicating well with students. But think of this first part here, right? First, you have to be aware of yourself and the people you're talking to. So first thing for you to write down, okay? Be self-aware. Be aware of who you are and who the person is that you're talking to. Okay. Okay. Are you talking to kids? Are you talking to adults? Are you talking to teenagers? Are you talking to business people? Are you talking to people who want to travel abroad? Do you want to have students that will travel to other countries? Do you want to talk to adults who are already retired and want to make that dream come true of learning English? So who are you talking to? You know, when you go to a party and you don't know many people in the party, you just know the host, right? And you have to feel the party, and you have to say like, okay, are people dancing, you know, are people sitting, are they standing, is it time to eat, you know? So you have to see how the environment is so that your communication will be effective, right? The same thing happens when you are online. So many times I talk to teachers about choosing a niche. Okay, who are you gonna work with? And today's post is about it: how to attract people that think like you, because you want to attract students for your groups, for your classes that are part of that niche you chose. So if you just talk about whatever, if you just post whatever, if you just make a video about whatever, you're going to attract whatever person that somehow finds it interesting. And then you start complaining, oh, but that person is not the level I want to teach. Oh, but that person wouldn't pay the price I'm charging. Oh, but that person doesn't want to study with a group. Oh, but that person, yeah, you're not communicating well, right? And it's something that we have to do all the time. We do it all the time here at BTE. Even this morning, Paulo, and I saw Paulo here, Paulo and I were talking about our post saying we have to be able to measure if we're attracting English teachers, because sometimes we attract English students to our profile. And even though I love English students, I don't talk to English students. My message is not for English students. I don't want them to be here. I mean, everyone is welcome, but really, I talk to teachers. All the work I do, I want to attract teachers, because everything I can offer is for teachers. It's not for people who want to learn the language. You see the point? So I know clearly who I'm talking to. I'm aware of who I am and what I do, my specialty, my strengths, my talents, you know, my values, my goals. So, okay, that's what I do. I know that there are many students that follow me here because they want to practice English, right? Because they like to watch things in English, and it's fine, no problem. But if I am attracting too many students and not enough teachers, there's something wrong with my communication. I'm not communicating well. So think about what you have been doing for you to be attracting the people you're attracting, or for you not to be attracting anyone. Because many times I hear teachers that we have the two sides of the story, right? We have teachers who say, wow, Camila, I just opened my Instagram profile and I posted 3 things and I already got 6 students. Like, ooh, wow, amazing, right? And others say, Camila, I've been posting every day, I've been saying things every day, I've been doing things every day, but students don't come. And the the honest truth is, so what you're saying doesn't matter. So you're not convincing anyone, you're not calling anyone's attention, or you're talking to a person, but your communication is for somebody else. So being aware of who you are and who you're talking to is the first and the most important step, and you can take notes. Okay? It's not even a workshop, but vamos lá, teacher da aula. Let's take notes, right? And that is not something you're going to do in 5 minutes. It's not something that you're going to do from today to tomorrow. You can start today thinking of who you are, what you do, who you help, what kind of student you want to have, what you offer, and who you want to attract. But you have to keep working on that. And you are going to get to know your audience better as you keep the consistency, as you keep talking to people, as you keep seeing the comments there, as you keep seeing that, okay, whenever I said that, many hearts, appeared here. It means, okay, it made sense. There was an insight, right? So what matters to my audience is something I'll have to keep studying every day so that my communication is effective to attract students. All right. So that is the first part for attracting people. And then number 2, take notes. Number 2, be like, and I have a video here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, try to find another video that I say that I talk about communication, which is measure how much information you're bringing to your communication. Do you know TMI? Too much information. Be careful if you're not writing too much, saying too much, if your audios are too long, if your text, if you're the textão person, all the time, because that is a big trap. And especially when it comes to business, when it comes to work. If you are going to ask somebody a question, if you're going to send something to your students, if you're going to say something to a potential client, you have to be straight to the point. You have to be direct. You have to be practical. If you cannot send an audio there is less than 5 minutes, be sure that these 5 minutes are essential, because you're taking 5 minutes of that other person you're sending the audio to. Sometimes it is important. Sometimes it is all the things that you have to say, but most of the times it's not. And I receive many audios and I listen to everything, right? But some of them really, I keep counting. I'm like, okay, 2 minutes and the person still didn't say anything. And on Instagram, the audios can only be 1 minute long. So there are many audios. Really, once I got one that the person sent like 7 audios and the first 3 ones had nothing. The person didn't say anything. They were just saying like, então, porque eu vi, like it was all information, all inhalation. There was nothing. I'm like, my goodness. I know where this person has to what this person has to focus on: communication, being practical, being straight to the point, not wasting other people's time. Right? Because nobody likes that. Nobody sees that as a plus. Nobody sees that, essa pessoa sabe exatamente o que está fazendo. No, this person is clearly lost. And as a teacher, as a person who's going to be hired to solve somebody's problem, can you see how negative that is? If you're always bringing too much information, if you're always, taking forever to get to your point. And I'm not saying, okay, when you're bringing examples, when you're, contextualizing, and that's fine, but knowing the media, knowing the way, the means of communication, the medium you chose, right? That's true, right? Sometimes I record the audio more than 5 times before I send to, and that's it. And guys, and it's really being careful, caring for others. And it's another point I want to bring up today, because when you're like, and it's not because like, because Camila is a mentor, she's so busy, she has so many teachers. That's not because of that. Because like I told you, I listen to everything people send to me. I read everything people send to me. But sometimes it's just like, oh my God, be practical, say what you need, and that's it. And if you're doing that, when a person sends you a message, when a student reaches out, when somebody, calls you, or you're wasting a person's time. And can you imagine a student who has already wasted his life and doesn't know the language yet, and they're thinking about hiring you to save time, to be practical, to be effective? What kind of message are you sending? And I'm not saying message, but the message you're sending, if you cannot just say what needs to be said, right? And that's how students have to learn, because in many countries, and especially if you're not super fluent yet, like students won't be in the beginning, they cannot be, saying things that don't matter. They have to know how to say what they need to say, right? So being a good communicator, being an effective communicator, is not bringing too much information, unnecessary information to an email, to a message, to an audio. All right. And also something else that is number 3 now, guess so, right? something that I see, that many, not just teachers, right, but everyone. If you are going to make a comment, if you're going to add something, if you're going to criticize, if you're going to bring something negative, be sure to do it in a constructive way. People who only bring negativity, people who only complain, people who only find what's wrong about everything are the ones that are most of the times excluded. If you're positive, and I'm not saying being positive, being Pollyanna, everything's colorful, flying unicorns, that's not it. But being positive is a trait, it's a common characteristic of good communicators. And I'm a super positive person. Some people even hate me because I'm so positive, but I'm very serious talking to you. Most of the times, if you watch my videos and my lives, I'm very serious when I'm talking to you. I do laugh, I do make jokes, I say dumb stuff, but I can be positive and be very serious. And I know that many times teachers, they have to complain. People have to complain. It's like, and sometimes it's something natural for us to say. Today I caught myself doing that. But in my mind, thank God I stopped it before I said it. I went to the nail salon to get my nails done, and they were watching Ana Maria Braga. And I really like Ana Maria Braga. I think she's awesome. And she was talking to people who were getting ready to watch the Olympic Games. I didn't even know the Olympic Games were happening now. But anyway, so they were doing it online, and it was a group of people that would travel, right? They would travel everywhere to follow the Olympic Games and the World Cup, and they were super proud of doing that. And this year in Japan, there won't be an audience for the games. So the athletes are going to go, but there won't be an audience. So they're going to watch it online, and they created the whole thing to watch the thing online. And they were showing photos of all the places, and I'm like, wow, that's super cool, right? That's very nice. But something that came to my mind, hi, Gabi, was like, pô, mas também, né? Galera tem dinheiro pra caralho pra ficar viajando assim pra tudo quanto é jogo. Meu Deus, assim, até eu. Olha que pensamento de merda. Olha que pensamento de bosta, de gente limitada e invejosa. Não é? É. Pensei isso. Fiquei quieta, graças a Deus. Because why did I think that? Because I envied them. I'm like, really, I wish I had that. I wish I were, but what would I gain by saying that? What would be my point? What would I be building? What will I be adding if I had said that? And I thought of that, and I'm like, no, none of it. That's not going to add to anyone. That's not going to be positive. That's not going to help anyone. So cala a boca, shut up. Right? So as we were talking to everyone, can you imagine if I had said that? If I had added that stupid comment, that ridiculous comment, that after that, when I was walking home, I was thinking, like, what? And I was thinking and analyzing that and correcting myself, thinking that's not nice, that's not right. People like different things, you don't. And if they have the chance, why not? And I was thinking about it, but I was happy that I didn't say it. It was just in my mind. So when we're communicating, and can you think of, like, okay, I was at the manicurist, and we talk about simple stuff, but even in that kind of interaction, I have to be the person that adds. I cannot be the person that just bad mouths people. Like, mas também, like, because that's what teachers do, and I see that all the time, and I even posted on stories. Like, capaz que dá para ganhar 10 mil por mês dando aula de inglês. That's the kind of behavior I criticized that I had in my mind. Can you see? Can you see how we're not perfect? We can see it from other people, but when we see inside of us, we're like, opa, yeah, we're all people. We all make mistakes, right? And Faye saying we need to watch our thoughts, actions, and words all the time. That's it. But you've realized before saying something, that's it. Gotta be wise. And that was only possible because I was aware of my thoughts. I was aware of the situation. I was aware of, like, what I was going to say was not going to add to anyone. So By being that way, by being that way, I can do that with teachers and my students. So can you imagine if in your communication you're always negative, you're always talking about everything that is wrong, and many times I talk to about teachers that say like, today we're going to learn the present perfect. It's so hard, right? It's so difficult. What are you adding? Nothing, right? Hello, Fatima. Welcome. And that's it. That's it. Last week, my daughter started piano classes, right? They had actually two classes. The first class, that was just for them to see how it was. And the first class was last week. They came home and then we said, okay, so how was piano class, right? And they're like, it's cool. But the teacher said, in their words, right? But the teacher said that this class was boring. Well, and they said it in Portuguese, so let me say it exactly the way they said. Mas a prof falou que a aula de hoje não foi muito legal, a aula de hoje foi chata, porque teve muita teoria, mas a próxima aula vai ter mais piano. And then when she said that, Brian and I looked at each other saying, it's the same thing as the teacher said, but today we're going to study grammar, it's going to be boring. Today we're going to write, it's going to be boring. They liked it. But after the teacher said the class was boring, what stayed in their mind? Now, the class was boring because there was theory. And if you're studying music, you have to study theory. I played the piano for years in my life. And I had piano classes, the practical classes, and music lessons to understand everything about music. So you see that what we say, what we communicate is powerful. And that was an example that we see teachers doing all the time. But pronunciation is so hard. But English is so hard because of that. Yes, it is. It is difficult. Why? Né, Fátima? A criatura já se entrega, não é? Learning to know your archetype is paramount to communicate. That's it. Hello, Lari. So think about what you're going to say. And it's no problem if you were someone like this teacher that my daughters had, that they have actually. It's no problem to be like that. But after watching this video, start watching out. Start being more careful. Start being more careful and just, that's it. Change and monitor yourself all the time. See, what you're doing, what you're saying, if it adds, if it's positive. And remember that being positive is not being a clown, right? And something else, another point, and I think it's number 4. I'm not following numbers because I didn't plan to make it like bullet points. But, and it goes especially for, okay, let me not be prejudiced here. I would say for Generation Z, just to go for the cringe people. But when you're communicating with people and thinking about students, and even when you're online, you have to be looking at your students. You have to be looking at the screen. And if you're going to look down, let them know, right? How many times have you talked to a person and the person had the phone and they were like, mm-hmm, uh-huh, isn't that horrible? And it's the same thing if you are in a class or if you are in any kind of conversation and you're not there with the person. You are not there and you're distracted, right? You're distracted, you're clearly not paying attention, you're doing something else, your eyes are not there, you're not listening to the person. That is not only rude, extremely rude, but it sends the wrong message to your audience. Ladi, you've done that, and I feel so guilty about it now. I did too, Ladi. This is not a life to say, oh, I'm perfect, you're doing it. No. I've done it too, right? But that's when I learned, Ladi and everyone here, to whenever I'm teaching online and I'm even in a session with BTE or something, and I'm going to take notes, and I love taking notes, paper and pencil or writing on the screen. I say, look, if I'm not looking here, like to the camera, at the camera to you, it's because I'm taking notes. I'm writing down what you're telling me, okay? And the person's like, sure, no problem, right? Because not looking at what when your students are speaking or being there when you're doing the talk and you're just like, that's if you're in a meeting. There's even a word for that I learned. It's phubbing, right? For when you are in a meeting or a workshop or something, a conversation, but you're on your phone. So don't do it. Don't do it, right? If you are on a session, if you are in a class, if you are anywhere, be there. Be there. Be active, right? I always have to let people know I'm taking notes. That's a lack of respect. I agree. Save this life, please. Right? But that's it, guys. And it's things that maybe we don't do it on purpose, but that's what people will read. Right? And by doing that, you're showing that you care, which is another point you can write down. You're showing that you care. Oh, I care about you. Tell me. I care about you. And because I care about you, be sure to use our time well. Right? Be sure to use our time well. So whenever you're going to talk in a group, whenever you're going to open the microphone, be sure you're going to say something relevant, something connected, that's not going to be just, venting or rumbling about something. It's like, what did it add? And many times we're going to see that we shouldn't be, saying anything, and that saves time for everyone, right? No Arizona workation, that's it. Be all ears, and that's it. No, that's it. Show that you care. Show that you are 100% there, that you're paying close attention, that you read carefully. Another thing that happens, especially when we write, we have a whole page for people who are joining the workshop. By the way, we're going to open the workshop again, The Way to 10K. The link is in the bio already. You can register. And we send posts saying what it is like. Right? So the workshop, The Way to 10K for English teachers who want to start making 10K a month, who want to start their businesses, who want to have a schedule full of students. It's 4 classes. It's 100% free. It's 100% online. Click here to register. What kind of message do we get? É de graça? How much do we have to pay? Like, oh my God, you didn't read anything. Right? So you're hiring. No, I'm not hiring. I say, I'm going to help you open your own business. So by doing that, I can see that the communication is not like you're not reading and writing and speaking and listening. These are all the ways that we communicate. It's not just listening. If you don't read something, and guys, I have so many stories to tell you. Actually, let me tell you one so that you don't feel so bad, right? And that's how I learned to pay close attention to when I read things. When I was doing my master's in Florianopolis, I've already mentioned this professor, that I presented something, and then in the end he said, okay, Camila, awesome, but you really have to improve your pronunciation, because these and these and these and these and these and these words are being mispronounced, and it's annoying for the listener. So you have to pronounce it. So he corrected me in front of the whole class, and I felt so bad, but I really learned. And he said, I'm saying that to you because your content is so good, and I don't want your pronunciation to be in the way. And it was one kind of mistake that he saw that I was making all the time. So it's like, he was correcting my communication. This same professor, right? The same professor at UFSC, right? Federal de Santa Catarina, my master's. I presented like my dissertation. I defended my dissertation there, and then there was a lot I had to do. If you've been through that, bureaucracy is awesome, right? You have to make a copy like that. You have to have a signature like that. You have to print things like that, and it's full of instructions. And I needed two copies, two original copies of that document. And I had to collect the signatures of everyone who was there during my presentation, right? And I only did one, and I could not photocopy that. It had to be the real signature of the different color. So the paper was black ink, but the signature had to be blue. And that was all written in the instructions. And I did only one. And then I had finished everything. So I was like, oh, finished everything. Yeah, passed with an A. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then they said, yeah, but there's a signature missing. I'm like, what do you mean? They said, you need a second one because we need 2 copies of your dissertation. I'm like, but no one told me that. And that was my first reaction. I was pissed because no one had told me that. I'm like, how do you say that to me only now that everybody went back to their cities? And I was kind of putinha, you know? And then they said, well, it's in the instructions. It's in the instructions, you know, that you had to have read before you delivered all the papers. And I'm like, no, but it just told me later. Bicha besta, né? This teacher, this professor called me at home, right? And then he said, Camila, here's Professor Moiter. And the secretary here told us that you're angry, you're very frustrated because we only told you that you had to have 2 copies of that documents now, but it's not true. Do you have the instructions there with you? And I'm like, I do. He's like, okay, so can you open it now? Yes, I can. He says, so can you go to page blah, blah, blah? Yeah. Can you read that for me? Guess what was written? That we needed 2 copies, 2 original copies with the signature like this and that. So who was wrong? Who hadn't read the thing well? Who had lacked the communication skill there? That was me. And when I read that, he said, see, so it's there. I just wanted you to know that you have to read things carefully. You have an MA now. You got this degree and it's in languages. And if you have a degree, but you cannot read things and you don't pay close attention to what you're saying, you really have to rethink what you're doing. That I felt terrible. I felt terrible. It was like I was, melting. But I never made that mistake again. So whenever there is a contract, whenever there is something for me to read, whenever like I need more information, can I pay like this? Go back and read the information because it's probably there. If it's not, if you're sure it's not, then go and talk to the person, but don't be, a bitch like I was, saying nobody told me. Yes, that was me. But somebody cared about my communication. That is how I interpreted that situation when he called me, and said all of that. He didn't want to just defend the secretary and everything, but he wanted me to be a better person. He wanted me to be a person who would communicate better. And when we communicate, it's not just what we say, but it's what we receive. You know the point? So can you imagine how much better you would be at teaching, at attracting people, at keeping your students if your communication were more effective, were more direct, more practical, if you really cared more about it? If you really thought of all of these things I said today, being yourself, knowing who you're talking to, deciding how to talk to these people, right? And if you show you care and you're there, you're not there but doing something else, and you're very honest and positive, right? Ele sabia que você era capaz. Fatima, I prefer to believe that, and I really know because he was an amazing professor, right? He would never do that just to be mean. He showed that he cared. He decided that, like, no, I know this person, and this person has to be a good professional, and this person needs this little, hint here that felt more like a slap in the face, but it made me very uncomfortable. I felt terrible, and I never made that mistake again. That's it. So we all make mistakes, and we can all learn, and it's our choice to learn, to choose to learn. So whenever you don't get the result that you expect, think about your communication. Are you communicating well enough? Are you being clear in the way you communicate? Are you saying what you want to say in a positive and respectful way? Because this is how you're going to get everything that we want. If you're just bitching around, people are going to read your thing and say like, ai, so chato, caramba. Yesterday, another, just to close this one, promise is the last story, right? Yesterday, I had to renew and download my certificado digital para nota fiscal and things like that. So every once a year, if you have a business, you probably know you have to do it, right? If you have a business, there is nota fiscal eletrônica, eCNPJ, right? That you have to download on your computer. So my account was like, Camila, you have to do it because it expired. So I was doing things, but I couldn't find the password. Oh, it's a password you created a year ago. I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember this password. How am I going to do it? So I called the support and it was on WhatsApp. And the person said, okay, what do you need? I said, I need this, and this. She's like, okay, I'm going to send you an email. And this email has a tutorial exactly telling you the step by step. Like, cool. And then I downloaded the thing, and then and then I asked one question. I remember what it was. I'm like, but does he have the? And then I said, wait. And I sent a message to her saying, let me watch everything and see everything before I keep sending you questions, right? And she laughed. She's like, like, right? They probably answered that question over and over again. That's why they created a tutorial for people to do it. So let me watch it carefully first. And guess what? I could do it on my own easily, just by paying close attention to, okay, it's here, so I have to do that. That's it. So communication works when it's clear, when it's direct, when it's intentional, when it's respectful, and when it's positive, when it's constructive. Think about the way you've been communicating. Think about the way you've been showing yourself and communicating with your audience so that you can attract the students that you want, right? So many stories, right, Fê? Preciso aprender a comunicar com meus clientes, Fátima. And that's why you're all here, guys. That's why we're here together, because we start to see what we need to do, what needs to be done, and we start changing. Nobody here is perfect. I just told you so many stories of times when I wasn't perfect, and I keep on making these mistakes, but I make other mistakes. And that's the point. So when you're communicating, go back and see if it's clear enough. Go back and see if it's effective, right? And there's always a way to improve. There's always a better word you can choose, a better way to ask, a better way to propose, a better way to criticize, a better way to suggest, a better way to say something that is true, to say to our students that, actually, this is what needs to be said here. There's always a constructive way to do it. There's always an effective way to do it. Think about it. Give it some more time. And I'm sure you're going to give much better. You're going to receive much better feedback, and you're going to get much better results if you change that. Thanks, Mel. It's funny, this theme of your talk today. You have no idea how relevant this topic was today. Awesome, Kelly. So it's transmimento de pensação. And I started thinking about it yesterday and today. It just made it even more relevant from the communications I've been getting, and also thinking of the communication that I'm sending. So improving all the time. All right, teachers, we're going to have the workshop, The Way to 10K, again, now in August. So if you want to register, if you want to send it to other teachers, the link is in the bio. Send it to other teachers. It's a free workshop for teachers that want to start building their business online, or if you already have your business, if you want to boost your business and build it the right way, the workshop is for you. All right, hope to see you all there. See you in the live tomorrow. Beijos. Bye-bye. Bye, teachers.